We start with the sport of kings, horse racing, because Jamaica's 2019 Triple Crown winner Supreme Soul is in danger of being euthanized despite being healthy. That's the view from the horse's trainer, the 4-year-old chestnut colt Supreme Soul, and his trainer, of course, is the reigning champion at Caymanas Park in Jamaica, Anthony Baba Nunes. Supreme Soul has been stuck in quarantine in Florida since December last year after competing in the Caribbean Classic at Gulfstream Park. This after tests showed he had tick fever. Authorities in the USA, we understand, say because tick fever is almost non-existent there, it would take some time for medication to be applied and for the horse to be treated properly. Meanwhile, the veterinary division in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries here in Jamaica, they've ruled the horse cannot return to Jamaica to be treated here. Senior veterinarian at the Jamaica Racing Commission, Dr. Sophia Ramlal, has commented on the issue. She says 4 unforeseen events have led to the delay in Supreme Soul returning on December 17, 2019 as planned. Positive tick fever test result on December 12, unavailability of a direct flight between Miami and Kingston to take him home during the busy Christmas holiday period, the requirement of Jamaica's Veterinary Services Division for him to be treated for tick fever in the USA before returning, and finally, the unavailability in the USA of the recommended drug for treatment. Now, this, of course, any animal lover, any lover of the sport of kings, as we all are, distressed by the situation that this horse has found itself in through no fault of its own. And we are turning now to the horse's trainer, Anthony Baba Nunes, for some perspective on the situation. Baba, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Good to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
I want to ask you, Baba, from the perspective of those who came in late to the story, can you tell us through your lens what the story is? Why is this horse not in your care at Caymanas Park preparing for a next run on the track?
Well, I mean, those who saw the interview that I gave to TVJ, what I basically said was what has happened so far. Supreme Soul was tested before he went to the United States of America. The blood test showed that he did not carry the tick fever virus. Therefore, when he went to the U.S., he spent 1 week in quarantine at a USDA facility, and then he went directly to Gulfstream Park, where he was in the regular population with the horses. Unlike Juiceman, who had tested positive for the tick fever virus, who also did 1 week in the USDA quarantine facility, but then went into a quarantine facility at Gulfstream Park. Juiceman had to work after 10 a.m. in the morning so that he was not mixing with the rest of the horse population. Therefore, the only time that Juiceman really was in contact with the other horses were on race day, when he actually participated in the Caribbean Classic. 2 days after, he got on a plane and he went back to Trinidad, where he raced actually Saturday gone. Supreme Soul in the interim was at Gulfstream in the regular barn area, mixing with Dominican Republic, Puerto Rican, American, all the horses.
Yes.
At the end of the race now, so the day after the race, he then had to go back to quarantine to spend 1 week at the USDA facility, and then he would fly to Jamaica. In the interim, there was a blood test taken, and it was found that he had the tick fever virus. Now that tells me 2 things. One, I strongly believe that the first blood test that was taken of Supreme Soul before he left Jamaica was a test that was made in error. Because if you take 100 horses and blood test them for tick fever, 99 of them will have tick fever. Tick fever is endemic to Jamaica. It is something that we have here and we have had here for years. It doesn't mean that he's sick, you know.
Yes.
What it means is that he's carrying the virus.
Yes.
So they saying that he did not have the virus, I thought was funny from day one, but it wasn't impossible.
Yes.
What is impossible to me is that he got tick fever while at Gulfstream Park, because the United States of America does not have tick fever endemic in their country.
Yes.
So having been tested, and okay, say he even got it at Gulfstream Park, So he's carrying this virus now. For our veterinary services division to say that they cannot accept Supreme Soul back into Jamaica makes absolutely no sense. In fact, if he was to be shipped back to Jamaica, he shouldn't even have to go through quarantine in Jamaica. Because the truth of the matter is the horses of which he's going to mix with the 1,200 horses at Kemas Park, I guarantee that 1,199 of them already are carrying the tick fever virus.
Yes.
So for you to not allow him to come back to Jamaica with the tick fever virus makes absolutely no sense.
Question for you, Baba. And I'm asking this question in light of what has happened with the coronavirus in China about transmissibility from humans to animals or from animals to humans. And I'm asking the question that someone watching at home would want to ask.
Right.
Is tick fever transmissible from a horse to a human and then to an animal again? Is that possible?
Not that I know of.
All right. So I asked that question because then, if it is that the horse is carrying the virus, as you said the horse is, and it were to travel back to Jamaica, it would of course be making contact with humans, correct?
Right, correct.
So coming down and making contact with human. You say no transmissibility there, so no risk of anybody getting contaminated and passing it on.
But the truth of the matter, to support that your argument there, George, it would mean that my stable, I have 70 horses training. Then that would mean my staff and I have tick fever, because I guarantee if you test all 70 of them, they'll have the tick fever virus carrying.
There you go. But I'm trying to paint a logical storyboard just to see where the glaring gaps are. So just work with me.
No, so, let me just, hold on a second.
Yes.
Let me just say for the public to hear. If Supreme Soul had picked up a virus or a disease other than tick fever, and one that was not endemic to Jamaica, I 100% agree with them. You would not want him to come back home because he could spread whatever it is he's carrying.
Infect the population.
Infect your population. That could cripple your industry.
For sure.
But
so,
this is not the case.
Absolutely so. So that it's important for you to make that clear. So walk with me again now. So if that horse comes back to Jamaica and lands at NMIA, Norman Manley International Airport,
right,
and they said to you, okay, Baba, we need to keep this horse at Plum Point at the quarantine facility for 2 weeks, would you have objected?
At this stage of the game, I won't. I would just love to get him out of the United States. At least he'll be in Jamaica where I can go visiting hours and I see him maybe once a week. At least I can see what condition he's in. But the truth of the matter is, my point is, yes, I don't mind him going there. I just want to get him back home. It doesn't matter if they want to take 2 weeks and keep him at Plum Point. The point of the matter is, even if you were to treat him for tick fever in quarantine in Jamaica, remember, he's not sick,
right.
He's carrying the virus.
Yes.
But you want to treat him anyway. And say after 2 weeks they take the blood test and, he's clear of this tick fever virus. You're now coming back into a population with the tick fever virus. He's going to get it again.
Absolutely so.
So as for the vet services division should be ashamed of themselves.
And I'm painting the storyboard to just make it clear to the viewers who may have gaps and are asking these questions, because I'm right with you. So again, if the horse is isolated at Plum Point, which is the quarantine facility for horses traveling into and outside of Jamaica, and that has been there for years, and you had access to the horse, you'd have been happy for him to stay there for whatever reason, for whatever period, and come back into the population. Absolutely. What is it that the Veterinary Services Division, though, has said to you, when I'm sure you've put this to them, so look, why not bring the horse back, isolate it, screen, test, do whatever you want to do, and let me get it back after 2 weeks or 3 weeks? What have they said about that?
All they have said to me is the rules and regulations and the laws are, once you're carrying a disease, we cannot accept you into our country. But you're carrying a disease that you're endemic to in your country. That certainly does not apply here.
Baba, one question from me here. The statistics that you just presented regarding the level of the tick fever virus in the Jamaican horse population, is this something that the veterinary services in Jamaica accept?
Oh, absolutely.
They do?
But they have to. Do you remember Miracle Man Ranch?
Yes.
Miracle Man went to the United States of America for the Caribbean Classic.
Yes.
On his way to Puerto Rico or Panama, wherever it was
Puerto Rico.
at the time. Right. And they wrote back to Jamaica saying, this horse has tick fever. He cannot participate. He can go no further. You have 3 or 4 days, I believe it was 2 or 3 days, to come back for your horse or we will euthanize him. Miracle Man was allowed to get back on the plane with this tick fever virus, come back to Jamaica, treated, raced again for another year, and then went back to win the Caribbean Classic at 4. Do we remember this?
Yes.
Yes, we remember.
Why? So what's the difference between that and this one?
Well, Baba, I was just asking the question because the story that is being presented isn't adding up. So I just wanted our viewers to understand that there is a huge discrepancy here. Another question, you've trained classic winners in Trinidad and Tobago as well, so you understand what happens there. Is it that the racing officials at the Arima Racing Club with the Juice Man situation, because Juice Man, as you said, is back in Trinidad and Tobago, actually ran on Saturday and got second. Why is there this difference between how the Trinidadians have treated Juice Man to how the Jamaicans have treated Supreme Soul?
Right. Well, what they're saying is Juice Man tested positive for the tick fever before he left. Therefore, he was in a quarantine facility throughout the entire process.
Okay.
So he went to the USDA quarantine, then he spent a week, another 2 or 3 weeks at the quarantine in Gulfstream, raced out of that quarantine. Therefore, he got straight on a plane 2 days later and went back home. No harm, no foul. So what turned out and what was thought to have been a great advantage for Supreme Soul that he did not have this virus heading to America has ended up being a disadvantage for him and maybe him losing his life. A healthy horse. Now, I want to say something to you, and I have proof. I have an email, and because I'm on my phone, I can't read it to you word for word. But if SportsMax wants a copy of this, I can certainly send it to you, Lance.
Yes.
The USDA quarantine facility wrote me an email 2 days ago, in effect saying to me, Supreme Soul, although appears to be healthy and in good spirits, is in a quarantine isolation stall of 10 feet by 10 feet. Horses are usually spend 10 to 15 days maximum in these isolation stalls. For Supreme Soul are to be in here for 44 days straight. It is bordering on inhumane, and we are asking that either we take him back home to Jamaica, his country of origin, or that you allow us to take him to a federal facility in Florida where he can at least be in a paddock. Now, if the USDA is telling you that this is inhumane to do this to this animal, you are telling me my vet division here of the country of which this horse was born is telling him, no, you can't come here? You don't have a human bone in your body to worry about this horse mentally and physically?
Baba,
this horse represented your country through no fault of his own. It's like Usain Bolt going to the Olympics, he'd catch the flu, and you say he can't come back home.
Baba, apart from the inhumane conditions that the horse is facing, how expensive now is it for the owner who has to pay the US and whatnot to keep the horse?
If he stays there until March, which the Americans say they will find the tick fever imizol, which is a tick fever medication, to give him, which they won't have until March. If by March it will cost the owner about $40,000 US to keep that horse in the USDA facility. That is how the euthanizing argument comes up, because at this point now, it becomes a business decision. You are putting the owner in a position now where you're saying to him, this is going to cost you $40,000 US through no fault of yours nor no fault of the horses, and we are just going to have to suck it up. No.
40,000 US, Baba?
Well, maybe business decision-wise, I have to put this horse down.
40,000 US? That's I think more than they paid for him. That's probably more than Shevan Maharaj paid for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right. So as things stand now, Baba, which avenue can you use to make progress with the Veterinary Services Division to let common sense prevail, at least the common sense that you've been articulating for the last 10 minutes?
Well, I have been told, and I'm not don't want to call any names to get anybody in any problems or an embarrassment. I gather that there is going to be a meeting this week between veterinarians from the Vet Board, which is very different than the Vet Services Division, and possibly the minister. I'm not going to call any names there either, and hoping that this can be worked out. If this cannot be worked out, get ready, folks, because this is the second interview I'm giving now. I gave one to TVJ. I'm now talking to SportsMax. We are going to go further. We'll go to CVM. We'll go to Twitter. We will go to Instagram and Facebook, because this is inhumane.
It's shocking. It's shocking.
It is disgraceful.
Baba, thank you for speaking with us, and we are going to stay on the job. We're going to contact you privately because we need to see that correspondence that you got, because we're building this case. All right, thank you very much for your time. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, bye.
Good.